Today, I had the honor and privilege to interview one of my friends that I met 3 years ago at a festival. He is an up and coming artist, he's a painter, he lives in the Indianapolis area. But if you're an artist or wanting to learn a little bit more about the art world and wanted to try and dabble and learn more about the scene, enjoy our conversation, me interviewing him, and maybe you can learn something for you to potentially progress your art journey. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, and I want to officially introduce you. Who are you? I know your name. I know you as Oscar, but what if someone's
Mm.
watching this right now, who are you? And if you were meeting someone for the first time at like a market or a show, like how do you introduce yourself and like what do you do?
So my name is Oscar Tolosa, and I'm a painter. I've been painting now for like 5 years, and right now my work is very like I try to paint like almost like dreamlike, surreal like scenes with a lot of animals, um, and it's almost like I try to invite the viewer with the colors and the imagery, and I want to paint like a scene where people can kind of look around and give them space to reflect with their own thoughts. Um, so kind of like a trippy style mixed with like fine art. I think that's kind of what I'm going for.
And what do you think like has influenced or influences your art? Because I know one big thing for you is music. Meeting you at Wakan, and I know you vibe with
Mhm.
all like EDM music and things with that, and you take that energy from those musicians and put it into your work. But like other than like music, what are like some other influences you get to channel that into your work? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I figured out. Yeah, the phone disconnected for some reason, so I'm just gonna use the Mac. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so back to the question. So yeah, definitely music, like you said, at Wakan, that was a very good experience because I was able to like I don't know give back to the music scene in a way. But other big influences are definitely just like life in general, just like thinking about life and uh, see what else. Definitely early on, like one of my big influences was like James Jean, this other guy named Sainer, and this artist called Squidlicker on Instagram. Those are definitely like my main three that kind of really got me. They really showed me what's possible with art, and I don't know. I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever. So I was like, I'm just gonna like try to go for this. But yeah, those are kind of like my main influences. Um, so yeah.
I saw like recently, you kind of got to connect some of your art even with your own culture and your mother, and you went to like a
Mhm.
museum or something like that. How was like what was a big influence of like learning some of like your history and connecting with your mom to adapt into your art?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think like one thing that I get a lot with my art, or I've gotten a lot with my art, is like they can see like the Eastern art influence, like the Japanese style, and that's cool. Like I still love that, but it made me think about like why do I make art? And this year I was lucky to be a part of this program called LAMP, which basically stands for Latino Artist Mentorship Program, and basically it's some like it's ran by mentors that are familiar with the Indianapolis art scene, and basically they invite Latino artists to apply to it, and basically they kind of show you like the business side of art. They connect you with people within the art community here in Indianapolis, and I took that as a way to learn, but also as a way to kind of try to connect more with like why do I make art, who is it for, and it just made me think about my own ancestry and my own roots and my parents and where they come from, and especially with everything going on with politics, like with ICE and Donald Trump, and just the overall viewpoint that the narrative that the government seems to try to like put onto people in regards to like specific like Latino immigrants. Um, So when I got into LAMP, I met with other artists who share similar background of like being like a Latino artist, like that itself is like a minority inside of a minority because
Sure.
like because like my parents didn't grow up with art. They don't understand
Mm-hmm.
like what is possible with art, what people can do with it, and that you can make money from it. So they didn't grow up with it, and now I'm able to kind of show them and hopefully like other people within my community because both of my parents are from El Salvador,
On the call.
which is a small country. So now I'm able to kind of connect with other artists from El Salvador or any like Latino roots, and I don't know, just try to inspire people. So yeah, that whole experience definitely has shaped my viewpoint with my art now, and I definitely want to like pull from my culture and try to like bring the past into the present, um, and hopefully into the future. So that's kind of where I'm at with when it comes to like reconnecting with my roots.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you're able to get closer within like a niche community. Like, the art community already is kind of small, but then adding in that other element of like your own culture and similar cultures together is really, really cool. So I'm glad there's like
Mhm.
a organization there that you can kind of get connected with some more people to influence each other in your other different arts and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's also been a nice way to kind of just like reconnect with my parents because like my parents immigrated from El Salvador, um, and like my Spanish isn't like super good. I can speak enough to like survive, but I can't like I have a hard time conveying complex thoughts,
Sure.
which is like something you need when you want to really connect with someone. But now like with through art, like it's kind of like I'm reconnecting with my parents, and that feels really good.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad you're able to kind of get connected, especially like nowadays, talking with politics and things like that, and like separation and moving away from family, going to a different place. Like we need to find those times where we can connect with our people, especially like our own family, because it is so easy to just separate or push things aside because we're sucked into our own things in our own lives. So that's really cool that you're able
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, that kind of has me thinking, kind of like how you were talking about, like trying to connect with other communities. I think that's kind of what we need now. It's almost like the politics, how it is right now. They benefit from everyone feeling isolated. So through art, we're able to connect different communities, and I think that's kind of how if we stick together, it's just better. I think overall for the future.
And speaking of your art and connection and whatnot, do you know a time, like, I know you're still fairly new to the game, it's only been like 3 years or so, but a lot can happen within those 3 years. When do you think's a time that you like most connected with someone on a level? If it was like at an art market or gallery, like your art, like someone said like this spoke to me or it saved me or whatever. Do you have a story of like a time someone said like your art has impacted them on some kind of level?
Yeah, one that I can think of is I remember. So I have a friend who worked in like social working, and she worked with kids who have like autism. And she told me that like one day at work, like one of her kids was kind of like just kind of like having a panic attack, and she showed them my art, and like my art was able to like calm them down. That was like one of the first instances where I was like, dang, like that's what my art can do.
That's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then recently though, I had a experience where uh one of the last paintings I did. It was at the Isle Museum here in Indianapolis, but uh, I had a conversation with a girl who like she just like loved my painting. She just wanted to hear my story, and I told her the story behind it, and she just really resonated with the story because she has a son, and in that painting there's a boy and the bear. He's riding a bear, and like it's all about guiding the youth, and she really resonated with it, and she told me that like even though the imagery was from El Salvador, she's from Mexico, and she told me that in Mexico, like they also have volcanoes, and she just really connected with the imagery of it, and it was a really nice conversation.
That's cool. It's always like interesting to hear like the different stories between, because it's easy to, like, once again bringing up the getting caught up in your own world and doing your own thing, that like how much you're like, oh, I'm just making this like silly little painting, doing expressing myself, but then how it can really affect someone. And I've seen that a couple times on like in person with even Olivia's work. There was a gal a couple months ago at a show. She came up and she's been following Olivia for a while, and then seeing like how she like expressed herself so much of like, hey, your art really like helped me when I was in a bad place, and like being able to absorb it and have it or buy a product from you, it like got me out of a rut, and I've got to feel these different things and express these things and all that. And then it even like made her, once she got out of that rut, now she's creating and doing her thing. So it was really cool to see like how she got out of that depressive state and now is inspired to make her own form of art herself. So it's
Yeah.
really cool to see like those different things, how just a little
It's like
design
they
can really bring something in someone.
yeah, it's like art can like make like this healing energy bubble up within people, and then I'm sure Olivia felt like awesome from that. So now it's like a feedback loop of like, oh, I helped this person.
Yep.
That makes me want to like do it some more. So
Yep.
it's a nice
Yeah, then it
cycle.
inspires you to want to do more,
Yeah,
which then it can inspire other people. Then yeah, just that
exactly.
yeah, it's very cool to see.
Yeah, that reminds me of there's this book called The Mission of Art by Alex Gray. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
check that out. But that one in that book he talks about like the mission of art, and he just says that like the whole mission of art is to heal the world, and how like your journey through art can inspire other people, and then that like energy just trickles out like a wave out into reality.
100%, 100%. I'll definitely have to check out that book
Mhm.
because yeah, Alex Gray has some amazing art. Everyone knows him because of Tool and
No,
other
he's awesome.
things like that. Like yeah, he has some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I love his work.
yeah. But let's see, focusing back in. So since this
Mhm.
like short period in your career you've done, what are some major things that you've done in your career? As in, like, have you sold at markets? You did say you did some galleries
Mhm.
and other things like that. What have you
Mhm.
done in this time period?
I had two big solo shows this year, one in Lafayette and then one in here in Indy, and that was like a really big thing for me because that was the first time I tried to create a cohesive body of work. Because usually I just do like a bunch of like random things, but I had that show happen in Lafayette, and then I moved that same all the art that was in that show, I brought it to Indy, and they were both like really big moments for me because I learned so much from like putting on like my own show and marketing, and then another thing that happened this year was I was able to have art in two museums. So I had a piece at Newfields here in Indianapolis, and then another piece at the Isle of George, which is the bear piece that I brought up earlier. But those are probably like the biggest like milestones for myself personally. Oh, and then one more thing, I also had a workshop a couple of weeks ago here in Indianapolis, um, and because I've been wanting to teach for a while, and that was my first time that I was able to try to teach, and that went really well. So those are probably like the biggest things that happened, and they all happened this year. So yeah.
It's funny that you bring up that workshop. That's actually what, like, once again,
Mhm.
something inspired me to want to actually reach out to you, because I'm like, he Oscar's been trying to teach some people and do some other things. Maybe he wants to expand out and do something, a different platform too. So yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
very
no, definitely.
well, let's see. So if there you met someone brand new trying to dive into the art world and trying to be creative,
Mhm.
what is a single piece of advice you would like give to someone wanting to step in the shoes of trying to be an artist? Doesn't have to be like a full like I
Um,
want to be like Picasso or anything like that. Just even just stepping into it
yeah,
or wanting to even sell their art like professionally.
yeah. Um, I would honestly just say like never stop learning. Like always always learn. Like there is this like inner curiosity inside of you. It's almost like the inner child. Like there's this inner childlike wonder that you gotta feed. And the more like you tap into that, the more you start to branch out and you start asking questions. And then that's kind of how you gotta like learn how to learn again. Because school learning is like very like formula, formula, formula.
Hmm.
But like the way that I've learned is like different than that. It's like I found my own way of learning. So and it all comes down to that inner curiosity. So that's kind of long, but definitely like just never stop learning.
What do you think's the most important thing that you've learned, speaking of learning, like the fundamentals or looking at something or even engaging with another artist? What do you think is like the most valuable information you've gained in your career so far?
Mm, I feel like probably just like the whole failure thing of like the fastest way to learn is to mess up. So if you embrace messing up, it's gonna lead to some kind of improvement or like learning something. So like especially with art, like and drawing, like just kind of like get used to making bad art. But like I put bad art in quotations because
Sure.
if you learn from it, then all of a sudden that bad art becomes a lesson. So it's a good thing you messed up. So so yeah, definitely just like failure, like just embrace it.
Which that's like a perfect thing to lead into my next question is every artist or like most artists always go through that phase when you're working on a project where it goes through that ugly phase and you're just like you want to throw it away or you're like maybe should I even continue to trust the trust the process of it because it goes through those different
Mhm.
phases of like ugly to a masterpiece. What's like some advice you'd give someone to pushing through the ugly phase to continue their piece?
I feel like I feel like that's like a thing every artist kind of learns in their own process. Because I would say like if you love the idea, then just like commit to it and stick to it because every painting you're gonna learn something from it, and the more you commit to that painting, like and then you learn when you complete it, obviously like it's gonna feel amazing once you get it done.
Sure.
But then when you go on to the next piece, like you learn from the previous pieces, so it kind of just stacks on top of each other, like that experience. Um, and that itself is like worth it. So it's almost like you don't necessarily see like the fruits of your labor right away. You gotta let it grow, and eventually, like maybe like five paintings down the line, then you can be like, oh yeah, like I'm able to do this now because I stuck with this painting, and and then also like the more you finish paintings, the like you're able to kind of I don't know how to explain. You're able to kind of see what how to tackle a painting. Um, so I don't know. I just like stick through it because it's worth the experience in the long run. That's what I would say.
Okay. Similar to the same subject, have you ever worked on a piece that you had like a vision of like, all right, this is what I'm doing, but then halfway through it, you end up like scrapping that whole idea or changing the idea completely? And if so, like what was that piece? And any of the pieces you end up talking about, I'm gonna try and find on your social media so people can kind of see as an example too.
I feel like with a lot of my paintings, there's always a stage where like I feel like I need to like introduce some kind of chaos to it. So like sometimes, especially with acrylic, more with acrylic, because you can't really do it with oil painting. I've been finding out lately. But with acrylic paintings, like there's definitely this moment where like maybe I'm midway through the painting and I'm just like, okay, something's not working. Like for some reason something's not working. So I'll just like get a bunch of water and paint and just kind of like like throw paint like all over the canvas to cover most of it. You can like not to the point where like you can't see the painting anymore, but just to like get some color shifts happening. And then sometimes that chaos kind of like it kickstarts the next wave of creation. Because like maybe something looks differently and you're like, oh, what if I try this in this spot? And you start working there, and then everything kind of feeds off of that one motion. Um, so that's kind of usually what I do when it comes to like trying to switch something up within my work. And that usually happens like in most of my pieces. But now that I'm working with oil, because with oil you can't really do that because it's oil based and you have to worry about um like the medium and like different the paint properties more. So with oil painting, I have to be more pre-planned about it. And in that instance, like I'll kind of do the same idea, but I'll take a picture of it and I'll do that, but like on my iPad, and then try to just to try to like get something to fall off, some kind of idea, like a little spark to kind of fall off. And then I'll follow that spark, and then that leads me like through the painting.
And then when you like run into those like hurdles or times where like, oh my God, I don't know where to go, or you like
Mhm.
lose in like your inspiration or motivation, what do you do to try and get out of that rut or continue forward? Do you like work on a brand new project? Do you kind of just push through it and see where your hand goes, or like what's your process of like trying to move forward, or even if you don't feel like working on art at all?
Yeah, I think that just kind of comes down to balance, like trying to find some kind of balance in your life, balancing normal life stuff and making art. But then when it comes to like art, like within the art, I I focus on a lot of projects. Like I feel like I have like a line of work just kind of going, and like I have paintings in different stages. Because sometimes like I want to take a break from a painting I'm working on, and I might have this other idea. So like I'll like switch from painting to drawing, and then like I'll try to work on a drawing and see what happens here, and then like oh that feels really good. I like where that's at. I put it down, and then I go on to like a different project. But that can get very out of hand very quick. So it's kind of like I've been learning to try to like balance all that. Um, so I feel like in a way, ADD can be like kind of like I don't know if I have ADD, but like I
Sure.
feel like it can be like a power if you're able to like laser focus it. Because if you work on one project, focus on that, get to a certain point where like maybe you need a break, and then focus on a different project. And my favorite way to think about like this whole like idea or concept of how I handle my work is the idea that like all my art is like a garden, and every art piece or project is like its own plant, and every plant kind of needs a certain amount of sun, a certain amount of water, different kind of like soil. And so you can't force the plant to grow. Like you
Hmm.
can't yell at it to grow faster. Like that's not how gardens work.
Yeah.
So you have to do your best to tend to each one, and then eventually, naturally, the plant like drops a fruit, and then you're able to enjoy the fruit. And that's like my favorite way to see my practice.
That's a great analogy. Does that mean that you have like
Mhm.
literally stacks and stats of canvases just laying around of projects everywhere?
Yeah, so like I said, it can get like out of hand very quickly, but I like right now I have like I've started I have like two paintings right now that are like probably like 90% done. Um and then I have one in the middle stage. Well, I have like two in the middle stage, and then I have one where like the sketch is on the canvas. Um and then I have like two other ideas where I'm still forming the sketch. So I kind of bounce like through everything, like bounce back and forth between whatever I'm feeling. I also keep track of what I've worked on like every day. That way I know like, oh, hey, like you haven't worked on this project for a while. you should probably focus on that one. So then that becomes priority. And then eventually, once like the paintings that are close to being done, once I complete those, then like I'll shift it. And like now these are like more like the main paintings, while I'm kind of like dilly-dallying with other ideas. Um, and I think over time I've just kind of learned which paintings or which ideas are like worth it. Because like sometimes like I'll have an idea and I'll sketch it down and then I'll put it away. And if it's a good idea, you'll go back to it and you'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. I need to like do another pass on it. So then I'll do like another pass, and then if it makes it past that second sketch, then it's gonna go into making a painting. So there's a lot of like trial and error, and there's like a lot, like I draw a lot. Like there's a lot of drawings that like I kind of have in my sketchbooks, and I'm like maybe I'll get back to that one day. Um, like for example, like I've been doing a lot of drawings of
Hmm.
like kids in different situations, um, and like it's to the point where like I have a couple different ones. So now I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could turn that into a series.
Okay.
So eventually, like once I have a bunch of like random little sketches, then I'll go back into my sketchbooks and try to like form that into its own thing. So that's kind of how like it's almost like an assembly line of paintings. That's kind of how I handle it right now.
Well, what do you do with all your completed ones if you don't have like an art market or a gallery or something? Do they just like kind of pile up there, or you lend them out to some friends, send them out to like I don't know a random like bistro? You're like, hey, can I hold? Can you guys post up my art on your wall? Like, what do you do with all your stuff?
Yeah, so usually it's just hanging at my place, or like I'll have some hanging at my girlfriend's place. Um, or like I'll take some to my parents. So far I haven't like overfilled the walls, but like if that were to happen, I would probably like I'll probably do the thing of like trying to reach out to like a coffee shop and be like, hey, like, are you guys interested in showing my work here,
Sure.
possibly selling? We could do some kind of like partnership. Um, that's probably what I would do. So yeah.
So like I see you post a lot like online between like you do make a lot of like art stuff and sketching and you post even pretty well on your social media. How do you find that balance of just like I'm gonna stay in create mode and social media mode
Mhm.
or kind of combine the two together?
Um, that's been just like that's been years of trial and error because there definitely is this um like worry of like, oh, will people like this? Or like worrying about the views and worrying about the likes. Like I think first of all you have to get over that hurdle of like you're making art because you enjoy it, because you want to, not and like if you get trapped in the mindset of like I need to make art that other people will like,
Hmm.
then you will start to make art for other people, not for yourself. And I feel like if you make art for yourself, you'll stick out more. So getting over that initial hurdle of just post stuff, don't worry about the views, don't worry about the likes. If someone resonates with something that you truly like, that you made for yourself, then they're more likely to like the next thing because you're sticking to yourself. Um, and and then once you get over that hurdle, it's just trying to. I think I try to balance it out. I think like last year I went through like a stint where like the first half of the year, because my show was happening, I was definitely like all in on social media, trying to learn what works, what doesn't, finding like apps to kind of help me stay organized. Like I use this one app called Notion, where you can kind of like set up like what social media posts you want to make for the week. Like I've gone more into planning what I'm gonna post. That way I know what's happening.
Okay.
So I got more organized last year for my show, and then like the second like the last couple months of last year, I kind of just like I don't want to deal with social media. Like whatever, I'll post whatever I feel like. I'm not gonna be consistent.
Hmm.
So I took a break from it. But now this year, I'm like back to like okay, I need to like you know fuse the social media and creating art again. So I think definitely just trial and error, just try one thing. If it's not working, take a break from it, but make sure to get back to it and eventually I feel like the process is kind of you find a way to make it work together, and that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is just trying to make them fuse together in a way that, first of all, connects with an audience. I'm not really focused on like trying to sell my work online. I'm more focused on connecting with the audience. Um, but like I will get back to trying to focus on selling eventually. So it's a lot of flip and flopping.
Okay. And as far as connecting to audiences, where can people find you? Like, what's your socials and stuff? So if someone's like, "Ooh, I want to see what kind of stuff he does," or want to get involved with you for some kind of project, like, what are your socials? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so my social media, like my Instagram is Oscar Tolosa Art, like all together. And then my website is oscartolosa.art. Um, but like, and then TikTok too. TikTok is Oscar Tolosa Art. So like, I'm pretty sure like you can probably find me on anything just as Oscar Tolosa Art. But those are like the main ones. Is Instagram. I post on TikTok, but not as much as Instagram.
Sure.
But yeah, Instagram is definitely like my main one right now.
Okay. And if do you have any final remarks to anyone that might be watching this, if they're, an artist or even just someone finding this entertaining to see what you're about, or if you show to your audience?
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram. Uh, follow Harry on his YouTube channel. Uh, yeah, just if you're trying to be an artist, like it's possible. Like if I can do it, you can do it, because like I'm literally just like a guy. Um, I'm just some guy who decided to like to stick to one thing. Um, and yeah, like if I can do it, you can do it.